a lot of people sit back and they dream and they go, yeah, it would be awesome to do a book. I'd love to do a podcast. That'd be so fun. But they don't obsess about how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking from step one, you wake up in the morning from 9 to 5. What are you doing to illustrate that design?
You're listening to the Reed Fletcher podcast. Clint Pulver was on the show today. This is a very unique show, one I'm very excited about. Clint is an Emmy Award-winning motivational keynote speaker, author, musician, and workforce expert. Clint was featured in Business Q magazine as one of their top 40 under 40. As a premier corporate keynote speaker, he is known as the leading authority on employee retention. Clint was awesome to talk to, and I want to get into it, but as a special intro to Clint, me and him have kind of an interesting past. The way that we actually met, and I'll set the stage. Senior year, I was having kind of a rough day. I remember I busted my toe on a pencil in the morning. I'd kicked it, and it jammed into my foot. I'm like, great, this day is going great. I think I'd even got into a fight with my girlfriend or something. It was just one of those days. Anyway, we had a pep rally at the school. This is 2012, and Clint was the keynote speaker at the school when I was in high school. And he asked the audience, who here is just having a bad day? And so I was, so I raised my hand, and he calls me out from, the whole school, and it has me come down. And he's like, okay, tell me about your day, blah, blah, blah. He says, we just want to make you feel better. So I'm going to say your name, and we're going to have the entire school give you a standing ovation. Okay. And so he does it, and he goes, Reed Fletcher. And the entire school just erupts, and everyone just, yeah, Reed. And it's such a funny, random moment. And yeah, it did totally turn my day around. I'll actually put the video. I'll put the video right here so you can watch it. But it was such a weird way for us to meet. And then we ran into each other years later, and I was like, hey, I'm that guy that you brought down on stage. And he remembered me, and we've stayed connected over the years. And so now I finally got to do a podcast with him. And like I said, he's killing it, Emmy Award winning. He also has a book coming out called I Love It Here about employee retention. He's an undercover millennial, goes into all these businesses to find out what the employees are really thinking. He goes undercover to kind of be able to find the perfect formula for a good company culture. So great conversation, and I hope you enjoy it.
There's something I'm going to try to teach and help each of you to understand today. Who in here, just raise your hand if today has just been a bad day. Just a bad day, like it has just been bad. Keep your hands up. Yo, Reed Fletcher, everyone. Okay, now listen up. Reed, you just had a bad day today, man? It just hasn't been the best day? No? Is it cool if Lehigh High School, your friends, your peers, if we show a little bit of love to you right now? Is that cool? Is it if we try to help make your day a little bit better? Is that cool? Ladies and gentlemen, Reed Fletcher! That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Now check this out. Good job. Good work. Reed, my brother. How did that just? What did you feel inside, man? Like what was that experience like?
I'll take another one.
Reed Fletcher!
Reed, what is going on, brother?
Clint, oh my goodness, boy, am I glad to see you. How you doing, man?
Good, busy. Like it's crazy right now, but I'm good. We're good,
Yeah.
dude. It's crazy book launch time,
Uh-huh.
Just nuts. So,
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen you've been on a bunch of podcasts promoting your book. You're busy, man. It's crazy what you've been doing.
yeah, we're doing like 7 podcasts a day. Yeah, we've been doing that for like the last, I don't know, 6-7 days.
So you've said everything that's in your head already. You got nothing left.
There's always more. There's always more. Dude, how have you been? What's new in your world?
I mean, good man. Got a little 10-month baby living in Arizona, living the dream. It's good.
That's
Graduated college.
so. What are you doing? What's like the career?
So I work at a network marketing company in the corporate side, and
Okay.
I am basically a sales coach. So yeah, I work with people. They're, normal people that are trying their hand at network marketing. They don't know necessarily a lot about selling or getting their name out there. And so I work with them, and I, basically try and give them the belief that they can have their own business, that they can do it even though they have no experience. So that's what I
Dude,
do. I
good
love it.
for you. What a fun job. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, get other people to, yeah, but I think that's rad.
Yeah, it's super
What
fun.
network marketing company is it?
Singular.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram that you're friends with Jason Hewlett. He came and spoke at one of our events.
Yeah, Jason's a great friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
great friend.
In fact, he's been on the podcast. I love talking to him. He's a funny guy. He's super
Yeah,
entertaining.
yeah, way entertaining. Yeah, he's been a friend for a long time. Good mentor, just a good dude, great speaker, super funny performer. Yeah, he's the man.
I wonder what it's like hanging out with all the keynote speakers backstage. Like because on stage it's just you and you're the man and you bring the energy, and then you get a bunch of those guys in the same room. I can imagine the sparks going back and forth.
Yeah, dude, it's a party. It is a party for sure. We go to dinner every once in a while or lunch, and it's so funny. Yeah, especially with Jason. Yeah, it's always a good time.
Do you know a lot of those guys? Is it a community where a lot of people know each other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all part of what's called NSA, the National Speakers Association.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we there's a monthly meeting that we all go to. There's a yearly huge convention that all of the speakers go to all over the world. So yeah, and then we're a part of like Facebook groups, individual Facebook groups, and we all follow each other, and then we see each other at events, and I don't yeah, it really is it's a fun community. I still would recommend this career, even though COVID and everything's hit us hard. I would still recommend this industry to anybody. Yeah.
Hmm. It's I bet it's a lot. I mean, when you see a keynote speaker, obviously you see them on stage. And so
Yeah.
it's like a glamorous idea, probably to most people. And I would assume, like just about any career, there's so much unglamorous stuff that goes into it. It's like
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
stage is like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah. We're working 80 hours so we don't have to work 40. Yeah. It's a lot. It is so hard. And it's hard to I mean, speaking that has its hard sides too, like the ability to be able to perform and to tell a story and stagecraft and all of that. But just the business side of it. Like you've got to be a writer, you've got to be an editor, you've got to be a marketer, you've got to be an accountant, I mean, all of the hats that you have to wear if you're running the show by yourself, which most speakers are. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
And you have to travel a ton, right? Like you're going to these places and you're in person, and then
Yeah,
afterwards you're whining and dining the leaders and doing leadership sessions. And
yeah, dude. And I personally love that. I like to travel. I mean, before COVID, it was like 100 dates a year. But we also had just a little baby, and my wife and I we traveled everywhere. So it was like, we're gonna be in Thailand, let's go. We're going to Australia, let's go. Or New York, Florida. So it was really fun. Oh, like we loved it. I think as our kids get a little bit older, that's gonna obviously get a little bit harder. But we're doing a lot of virtual stuff still now. So I do a keynote. I did a keynote in Australia 2 days ago, and then I'm home. I'm here. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I miss it though. I miss traveling. I miss getting on a plane and zoning out, and nobody can talk to me. It's quiet. I can get back, watch a movie, go to a cool place, meet new people. I really do like that part of it. Some people hate it, but I'm still in that stage in my career where I love it. So
what would be the ideal? Would you want like a show in Vegas? I know Jason told me he wanted that at one point.
no, I don't think so. I think honestly, like I wouldn't really change anything. Like the career that I built and what we're doing and what we're what we've created is what I would want. It's what I wouldn't want anything else at this point in my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sweet. Congrats, by the way, on the new baby. I've been following that. That's awesome, man. I know it was kind of tense and everything, so
It
I'm glad
was,
it's worked out.
yeah, 2020 was a rough year, and then 2021 came out swinging. It just punched us in the face. We had the new baby, and she went to the NICU for almost 3 weeks, and
Oof.
and then we got home for 2 days, and then I was brushing my teeth, and I looked over at Kelly, and I said, "I can't taste my toothpaste."
Oh no.
Like, "What are you talking about?" And I went the next day, and I got tested. Tested positive for COVID, and it floored me. I mean, I was out. I was put on oxygen. I have asthma.
Ooh.
I couldn't taste, I couldn't smell. I was so fatigued. And then she got it 2 days later. And I mean, we have two little infants. Yeah, man, it's been quite the year. And then we have a book coming out into the world, so that's like a third baby. We're crazy, dude. We are crazy people, but we're still
That's
alive. So
nuts.
cool.
And so when you were in the NICU, did they let both of you be there? Was it just her?
Yeah, so Kelly and I could go to the NICU.
Oh, nice.
That was like literally it. Like, yeah, so and driving back to the NICU 3 or 4 times a day, that's exhausting as well. So, and then the stress of, you don't know how your baby's doing and what's going on. And every day is, different. One day she's great. One day she's barely alive. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
Quite the year, man. Um, it was you were saying you couldn't taste your toothpaste. The same thing kind of happened to me when I got COVID. I knew I got it because I was eating. Have you tried Takis?
Hmm. Hmm.
I've got a pretty low tolerance for spicy stuff, but I love it. So it's like the worst combination
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I'm like, sweet, it tastes so good, but it's so much pain. So it's
Yeah.
like just like shovel it in for as long as I can handle it and down some milk, you know?
Yeah. And then you're done.
And so I'm throwing down Takis, and despite how much I know it's gonna hurt, and I'm like, wow, I have really matured in my spiciness. Like I just when I became a dad, I guess I turned a corner and I can handle more than I thought. And then like halfway through, I'm like, I don't taste this at all, actually. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Amazing.
not only do I not taste the spice, I don't taste anything. And I go and try all this stuff, and I'm like, dang, I guess I can't handle the spice though.
Did it affect you other than your ability to eat spicy food? I mean, did you get
Yeah.
fatigue? Did you?
Yeah, I got a pretty bad fever. And then like actually the same kind of thing happened. The same thing I have with hot water. Like I love hot showers, but I can't handle them too hot.
Yeah.
And I went into the shower and I just like blasted it and I couldn't even feel it. So my skin also went numb, which is weird. And then I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have COVID. And
Yeah.
that was beginning of January, and my sense of smell and taste like are just coming back.
Yeah. And I'm with you there on because of it took its toll. It wasn't just like the whole 10 days of quarantine and then you're better. Like it's still stuck with me. And yeah, man, it's what a year. What a weird time. It's a weird time in this world. It really is. But I think we're hopefully like pulling out of it. Our events are kind of picking up and things are looking better. So
So are you doing in person? Are you booking in person for the future yet, or is it still
yeah,
virtual?
yeah, we are. Yeah, yeah. 2022 is looking good. 2021 quarter Q3, quarter 4 in the year is we've got some live events. I'm actually going to Indiana this Sunday for a live
Nice.
event. So yeah, it's happening. It's happening. It's more like in the rural, like out in the middle of nowhere places where they don't really know what a mask is, but we're still doing it here and there. A lot of virtual. But it's slowly starting to pick up. I think people are just tired of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're just they're ready to be done. They're ready to be back to normal. They're ready to travel. They're ready to go on vacation. They want to see people, connect, network. I think people are just done with the whole sit inside your house, work from home kind of a thing. At least that's what I'm seeing from the people that are booking and going to these events.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too, and I think like the fear is gone. In the beginning, so many people were afraid, and now enough has happened, and so many people have gotten sick and been okay, and or at least we understand more than we did in the beginning, and so
Yeah. Yep.
I think people are at least feeling that they're willing to take the risk. They're like, hey, not even necessarily like, hey, it's not real, but I gotta live my life, and it's risky to drive a car. It's risky to do anything, and people are like, I can't just not live
Yeah.
because I'm afraid of something. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yeah. And I think it's kind of like, all right, now we've got like the elderly people that are being vaccinated, and people that are high risk can be vaccinated. It's kind of a, all right, I'm willing to take this chance to go out and go swimming with my kids. I'm willing to take this chance to go to the movies. I'm willing to, yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think the thing that people are most afraid of still is the shame, right? Like getting shamed
Oh,
for
for sure.
not wearing a mask at Target and everyone's giving you that look. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm afraid of
Yeah.
that too. No one
Yeah.
likes that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's like, well, okay, well, when do we all turn the corner? When do we all
Hmm.
get to that point where we just go, okay, like we are going to go, and maybe it won't, right? Maybe we will never see a time where you walk into a Target and nobody has a mask. Maybe there will always be there. All it'll be, it's kind of like Asia used to be. Like we'd always see them, everybody
Hmm.
walking around with masks, and we're like, why do you do that? And I think
We used to
maybe,
make fun of them.
yeah, yeah. It's like maybe maybe we'll see more of that. I don't know.
I know. I wonder if it's one of those things. You know how, like in the 50s, we thought that smoking was fine.
Yeah,
Um, and like people would like smoke with their kids in the car and stuff. And
totally.
now,
Legal smoke.
well, yeah. And now we look back on that and like, what were you guys thinking? I wonder if that's what's going to be the case. Like we're going to look back in 30 years and be like, I can't believe people used to not wear masks. Now everyone has to wear masks. It's just so dangerous.
I know. No. And I think about like a concert, like a rock concert, or you're at a Taylor Swift show or a Beyonce show, or like literally thousands and thousands of people stacked next to each other, shoulder to shoulder. Like that idea sounds so surreal right now. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever like get back to that. Like
Hmm.
when everybody's not masked up, shoulder to shoulder in a mosh pit. I don't know. We'll see.
I wonder too, do you think other diseases, not COVID, like the flu, have gone down this year? Because I mean, we've been wearing masks all year. Shouldn't it have affected?
I would assume. I would assume so. I mean, it makes sense. Like we're trying to stop the spread, and it's like the spread of not just COVID, but the flu, the strep, the whatever, man. Like I would assume. I don't know, but I would assume.
I hope so, because that would suck if we spent our whole year standing 6 feet away from everyone and didn't change
Yeah,
all
and the
those
flu is just
diseases.
so rampant. Yeah,
Hmm.
no, yeah, agreed.
Um, you mentioned the new book. I'm psyched about. I watched the undercover millennial stuff. I think it's so cool. What is that? What the book is? Is it entailing what you learned in your undercover, uh, all your undercover videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. So for 5 years, almost 5 years, I've been doing the Undercover Millennial program, and we've worked with 181 organizations, and I've interviewed over 10,000 employees undercover, as the Undercover Millennial, and that is what the book is about. So I didn't want to write another leadership book by a self-proclaimed leadership expert. I wanted to write a leadership book written by 10,000 employees who knew when their leaders were getting it right.
Hmm.
That's what I wanted to create. And dude, it has been so much work. I'll never do it again, but it has been so empowering. It's been so cool to have their stories told. And we did it in a way that was unique, it was different, it was honest, it was authentic. They didn't know their stories were being told. So we got the truth, which was amazing. But we've done it in a way that it's just eye-opening. I
Hmm.
think that unfortunately in like leadership, most managers have no idea that they're doing poorly. And they sit down with their employees and they go, well, what can I do to, be better for you as a manager? I remember in corporate America, like my boss would sit down and say, hey, what else can we do for you? And, what can I do to be better? And dude, I would never tell the truth. Like that's awkward. That is really awkward. Like, especially if I struggled with them or they were a horrible, like you just keep quiet. You just do
Yep.
your thing. And you say, yeah, no, it's great. It's awesome. But what you're really thinking in your mind is, dude, you micromanage me every day.
Hmm.
You undervalue me. you're the guy that, like, when we win as a team, you take all the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lose, you blame everybody. And I'm honest, I'm looking for another job. And as soon as I get an opportunity, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But the manager never hears that. So the manager just thinks, oh, I'm killing it. We're doing great. Business as usual. But then they wonder when an employee leaves, they go, oh my gosh, these entitled millennials. It's so hard to get good work, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I heard it so many times. But here's the thing, that was part of the research. But the magic of the research was found when I would go in undercover as someone who was looking for a job, and I would go up to the first employee and I'd say, what's it like to work here? And they would respond with, I love it here. I love my job. Oh my gosh. Like what we're doing at this company, my culture, my manager, Susie. Oh, Susie, you got to meet Susie. Like, and then when that would trend person to person to person in every organization, and to see what those leaders were doing behind the curtain, like how they were creating cultures and organizations that people never wanted to leave. That was the magic. And that's why I titled the book, I Love It Here, How Great Leaders Create Organizations Their People Never Wanted to Leave. Because I didn't want to write a book about problems. I wanted to write a book about solutions
Mm-hmm.
and what those great leaders were doing to create businesses where people didn't just survive at work. They actually thrived.
Mm-hmm.
We need more of that, man. And so it's been so much work, but man, it turned out to be a beautiful book, and I'm excited to get it out into the world.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. I think it's an awesome idea. I can't really think of I mean it mirrors, I guess, the like undercover boss in
Totally.
a sense, but that's more of like a bait and switch kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Um so I really like the idea. And it makes me wonder, yeah, like I think back on the places I've worked, is it is it simple, you think, to the little steps that the companies make to create a good culture? Are they is it something you could teach easily?
Yes and no. I think it takes time. Like obviously Rome wasn't built in a day, and a good culture and a business is not built in a day.
Mhm.
But it is small and simple things, but the consistency of those small little things is the key. You know, do you have the ability to do small things consistently over a long period of time?
Mhm.
That is how you create a culture that lasts and a culture that's sustainable. Um, there's a good friend of mine. His name's James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy. I don't know if you know who he is, Reed.
Oh, he's killing it right now. 100 in
And
100 days.
he's nuts. I watch it every night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, James, you're crazy.
Is it
But
is it an Ironman or is it just a triathlon?
no, it's an Iron Man. He does an Iron Man every day. He's struggling. He's like on day 4 or 5, and he's already got blisters all over his toes. But he's a great friend. James and I have spoken together for at a lot of events. He endorsed my book, read the book. Just a great friend. And as we've shared the stage together, he tells a story, and then everybody asks, "Well, how'd you do it? How did you do it? Like, how did you literally, mentally, physically, emotionally do the hardest physical feat that is almost known to man?" Now he's doing the 100, conquering the 100 Ironmans in 100 days. And he gives the same answer every time, every time. And it's the same answer I just gave. And he said, I do small things consistently over a long period of time. That's what makes the impossible possible. And it was those little things that leaders did consistently over time that created cultures that people never wanted to leave.
It's so hard to do that. It's simple in the same way that, walking 1,000 miles is simple, but it's hard because like if you walk 1,000 miles, you just take a step, and you take another one, and then you keep going to your 1,000 miles away. But it doesn't mean it's easy. So those
Yeah.
types of things, yeah, you're right. It's like you can do simple things to make your relationships or your health better, but it's just a matter of actually doing them that is so difficult for people, me included.
I just saw this. I'm looking this up as we're talking. I saw this email. It was so good. And it just talks about consistency and how hard that is. But that's really like the difference maker in how we do anything of significance. Not just success, but like real true significance when we do something that's worth doing. And it does. It takes the consistency, and that's hard to do. It's hard. Let's see if I can find this. I'll keep looking for it. It was really cool. It was by the guy that wrote Atomic Habits.
Yeah, James Clear.
Yes.
I
You
just
read
read that. Great book.
Dude, I haven't read it yet, but his newsletter is so good.
I should jump on that. He talks about it in the book. I think it's like one of the number one newsletters in the world.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about it is it is so simple. It is so simple. You get 3 points, and there's three. Oh, there it was. Yeah, 3 little tips, and they're just gold. They're really cool, and it's like simple. It's not this long story. It's not. I can't find it. I'll keep looking for it as we talk.
I know you're good. I just finished his book actually, and speaking of the newsletter is a perfect example. I mean, he wrote one like maybe I think it's like Tuesday and Thursday every week for like years, and now he's got one of the top newsletters in the world. Just like that little, it's like an inflating balloon, right? And it's like really slow, and you put a little bit of air into it every single day as you write a newsletter, as you work out, you eat healthy, you chase your dream. And then it's like when you miss it, it's not like it just goes all away, but it's like you let a little bit of the air out.
Yes.
And so like you have to recatch it, you have to get that momentum back, and it gets faster and faster if you're more consistent. It like starts to compound and things start to go exponentially, but then every time you stop for a period of time, it starts to deflate again.
Yes. Dude, I found it. Okay. So check this out. He says greatness is consistency. And I agree with that. And he says meditating once is common. Meditating daily is so rare. Then he said exercising today is simple. Training every week is simply remarkable. Writing one essay rarely matters. But if you write every day, you're practically a hero. Unheroic days can make for heroic decades. Ugh, I love that, right? Like doing it once, good job. You ate healthy for a day. That was great. But doing it daily, oh man, it's rare, right? It really is. It's the consistency is the key. I think if I ever wrote a book again, which I don't ever think I will, but if I ever did, I think I would write it about consistency. The power of consistency is what, I don't know, that just is what makes a life worth living, is if you can find something that you're passionate about, something that contributes to your purpose, but also something that helps you pay your bills. If you could bring them all together and then do that consistently, man, you will live in this life. You will not just exist. You will live. But consistency really is the key. So
I love that. Most people live lives of quiet desperation, right?
absolutely.
They
Yep.
they try for the big Herculean thing, and they think, this is my year, and I'm gonna turn my relationship around. I'm gonna stop fighting. I'm gonna stop drinking. I'm gonna be that cool badass I always thought I was going to, or whatever it is. And it's hard and it's sad because it's not in that. It's not in the, like we watch Rocky and there's a Rocky montage, and you think like, I'm gonna have my montage and I'm gonna be going to the gym. It's gonna be playing Eye of the Tiger, and then pretty soon it's gonna be 3 minutes later, I'm gonna be ripped. And in real life, it's boring, like anything that's gonna be good, you have to do something boring to get it.
Yeah.
Writing a book, you're passionate about that. You've got these amazing stories. Your book is probably exciting and people are talking about, you're getting DMs, and it's like, wow, writing a book would be so cool. And then it cuts to you and you're in your house alone for the 50th day in a row.
Yeah, man. Just writing. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's and most people too. So there's the effort, there's the heart that's needed, but then most people never understand the concept of like really designing what you want, like the power of the details. Reed, we were talking. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. This is fun because I haven't really talked about any of this on any podcasts. So this is cool.
Yes.
I want to give like a new idea, a new thought that I think is kind of interesting and worth talking about. I don't tell very many people this, but I freaking love the movie E.T. I love it. I think E.T. as a kid scared the fetch out of me. Like, just scared me as a kid. Like, little alien in a cornfield, like running into a little kid at night, like, oh, like so scary. But as I've gotten older, I've been able to like really appreciate that film. When E.T. came out, it derailed Star Wars off of the #1 chart. It stayed #1, the #1 film in America for 11 years. And I don't know, Reed, have you seen the movie? Seen
No,
E.T.?
that's one that I've been wanting to see. I can't believe I came to this podcast without having watched it.
I'm ashamed of you right
I
now.
failed.
Okay, dude, movie night with the wife and the kid tonight. Watch E.T. I'm serious. Watch. It is beautiful, and it's still like revered as one of the greatest masterpieces in cinema that there's ever been. And it's this simple story. It is so simple, but it is beautiful. The music, the lighting, the cinematography, the scripting, the acting. It's incredible. And E.T., the character of E.T., I think when most people think of like a character that is a creature, you think of Yoda, you think of E.T., maybe some people think of Gizmo from Gremlins, or I don't know, these iconic creatures that they were done so well that you thought that they were real. You
Mhm.
thought that they were actually living. And it's an interesting concept that as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated how creature designers create the unbelievable and make it believable. How they really create something that is legendary, that's iconic, that moves people. E.T. grossed $6 billion in just merchandising. People that wanted to buy an E.T. toy, like an E.T. plush doll, $6 billion. And it stayed #1 movie for 11 years until Steven Spielberg came out with Jurassic Park and derailed his own movie off of
Mhm.
the #1 charts. So the point I'm trying to make here is there's a guy named Carlo Rambaldi, and Carlo Rambaldi was the guy that created E.T. And he went through 300 iterations of that little alien, little stubby little dude. 300 iterations. And he crafted, in my opinion, what is the greatest? It is the greatest puppet, greatest creature that's ever been designed. Greatest creature, and has moved people in a way that is unforgettable. And when creature creators, when they do this, they start with a concept. What do we want to create? What does it look? What are we trying to do here? Well, we want an alien. We want him to look like this, and this is where he comes from, and this is what he would eat, and this is how we want his eyes to look. Like they dream it up. What's your
Mhm.
dream? But then they get obsessive about the details. So he goes into what we call illustration design. And so they draw out every feature. What do you think about this? Do we like this? Is his head too big? No, I want his hands to be a little bit smaller. The wrist needs to come down in kind of a triangle. Like, they are so obsessed about the details. And then they sculpt it. They get like a little maquette of what it's supposed to look like. And then they can scan that. And then that's how they create the molds. And then they've got to build all the mechanics inside the hand. Like, how is this going to actually move on screen? And then they do the fabrication. And then it goes to the movies. Then people see it. And I think about my book in this process, dude, it was just like designing E.T. And if I have any success with this book, it will be because I freaking Carlo Rambaldi that thing and got so obsessive about the details. And I think a lot of people sit back and they dream. And they go, yeah, it would be awesome to do a book. I'd love to do a podcast. That'd be so fun. But they don't obsess about how to make that happen.
Mhm.
I'm talking from step 1, you wake up in the morning from 9 to 5. What are you doing to illustrate that design? What are you doing to create the mechanisms, the mechanics of how that works? Are you watching YouTube videos about what podcasting equipment you need? Are you associating with other people that will help you do that? Are you looking at Okay, what are the best times to do a podcast? So, how do I find podcast guests? All of that. Like, you have to be obsessive about those details because it is the details that really create the ET. It creates that iconic business. It's really what brings your dream into something that's real. So I have no idea if that made sense, dude, but that has been something that I've been thinking of, design the ET, man.
It makes perfect sense. I love the word iteration too, because you think about one. I think one of the main problems is people they have their idea and they want to do the iterations in their head so that they never fail. They're like, I want to create ET in my head. I want to create my business or my podcast so perfectly. So by the time I give it to the world, I cannot fail and it'll be wonderful and my launch will go great and my
Yeah,
podcast
man.
will get a million views and whatever. And I love iteration because you're right. That never happens. You put it out there and then you say, you know what? Yeah, exactly. His hands should be bigger. Or he doesn't look alien enough. Or, my
Yeah.
book, I need to have more testimonials or whatever. And you get feedback and you put it into the world and people dump on it. It's like
Ah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
work or whatever. And the thing is, your idea is always perfect while it's in your head.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
you're never going to fail if something stays in your head forever. And you're also never going to do anything if you never fail. So I like that idea. I love that. Have you seen the Imagineering documentary
Yeah,
about,
I love it. It was so good. Same kind of stuff. Like,
uh-huh.
yeah, dude, when COVID hit and I lost my job, my industry just fell apart,
Yeah.
dude, I binge watched that in like a day and a half, and it fired me up. I was like, "Yes, let's go. Let's make something happen." Yeah, that was a great,
It
great
was
doc.
so good. I thought the same. I did the exact same thing and I binged it and I was like, oh my goodness. Um, they're like, yeah, if we want a new ride, we immediately make a crappy version of it and then we iterate it and we test it and we get feedback and we run it.
Yes, that is the process like, that makes the Disneylands. That is the process that makes the ETs. That is the process that makes you and your dream a reality. And most people never do that. And that is the
Mhm.
key. It is the grind, non-glamorous, writing it out, getting getting obsessed about the details. That's how you create something worth creating.
I like that thought. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I wonder if that's like a genetic thing, like the whole nature nurture question. I wonder if some people are born with the ability to be fascinated in the details of their own dream and be obsessed, or I wonder if it's something that you learn.
Yeah, I think it is I think it could be a little bit of both, right? Because you have those innate desires. If you're doing something, that's why everyone's like, if you can do something that you love, if you do something that you're already invested in, if you had 3 hours on a Saturday, what would you be doing?
Hmm.
If money didn't matter, if you were like the richest human on the world, what would you do? What would you be doing? And if you can kind of figure out what that is, what that looks like, and why, uh, I do think then it translates into the possibility of you becoming obsessive about the details, more easy, more
Hmm.
possible. So I think there's that side of it, but then um, I don't know. There does though. I really do. I think there has to be a sense of heart in it because I look at my career, I look at or something like what James Lawrence is doing right now.
Hmm.
You cannot do that unless you have the heart for it. Like I've tried to do things that I'm not passionate about. I've tried to do things that I just don't love, and I can still do it. Right? I can still do hard things, or do things that I don't always love. Right? I change diapers every day. I don't love that, but I still do it. It's still needed. But man, I don't stay up till 4 in the morning dreaming about changing diapers. Right? So I think there has to be some heart there. There has to be some passion fueling this because it's not easy. And you need that to keep going on, especially on the bad days, the hard days, the struggles.
Have you read Grant Cardone 10X?
I haven't. I haven't read that one. I've heard about it.
It's basically the same concept. It's like it's if you're if you obsess about the details of what you're doing and you can do 10 times more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And you can really hone down on one thing and do it well. Um, there's no guarantee ever that you're going to succeed, but that puts you in such a better position. You know, it's like if you want something, why wouldn't you want to have the highest likelihood that you would succeed in it?
Yeah, man. And I think too, what amplifies that a lot more is not just having the desire, right? Not just putting in the time. Because here's the thing, I've seen a lot of people, especially in my industry, and they are passionate about speaking. Like they love it. They could study it, they could work on it, they could work on their website, they could attend a million conferences about speaking, but they're not consistently speaking. And I think there's a variable here, and I saw it in my research as well. When we would find a leader that was incredible in the workplace, that leader was always being mentored, always.
Hmm.
So I call it the power of a board of mentors, right? Every business will have a board of directors, and it's literally human beings that they bring into a room that have credibility and they're competent or they have experience in something that is crucial to that business. And then when that business has a really hard decision, or they're working through a conflict, or they're trying to innovate, they go to the board of directors. They take that to them, and it allows them, and hopefully is an environment where they can make a better decision so they can be more successful. I think as individuals, we should create our own board of mentors. You go talk to most people and you go, who are you mentoring with? I don't know. I'm reading a book by so and so, and I read some blogs every once in a while. And like I'm talking about real mentorship. Like who are you coaching with right now? In a world or a sphere of whatever it is that you want to do, whether that's personal development, whether that's finance, whether that's athletics or physical fitness, or who are you coaching with? And I think we have to be willing to earn that. We should be willing to associate with astonishing people, do whatever it takes to associate with the people that are living and breathing the life that you want to live. That is another component of how I feel like great leaders, become significant in the lives of others, not just successful. They found that through other significant people. Great mentors are always being mentored.
It's interesting when you're around someone that's living the life that you want, someone that's super successful or rich or,
Yeah,
found purpose, and you're sitting next to them in real life and you're like, you're a normal person.
totally.
Like
Yep.
you look just like me. I can see myself in you. You're not necessarily smarter, maybe, or better looking, maybe, but it's really encouraging to be able to see yourself in someone that you admire because then it gives you're like, oh yeah, we're both just people. They just were more consistent or they had more experience or they are older or whatever it is.
They found a mentor, right? They found someone to help them succeed.
Yeah, and the opposite's also true. Like you're hanging out with people that are, that you don't want their life or they have that negative mindset. And you're like, you know what? You're right. Like I can kind of see that. Maybe it's not about chasing you. Maybe I should just settle for security and like you're so alike to everyone else if you let yourself be that it's like so dangerous to not be around people you don't want to be like because you're just gonna mold into them if you're not careful.
100%. And it's important to take that inventory, right? To do that audit of who am I hanging with?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I surrounding myself with? Like Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn always said you become the average of the 5 people that you associate with most. I have no idea if that's true or if that's ever been proven, but I believe that. I really do. Like you put a hard to catch horse in a field with an easy to catch horse, you usually end up with 2 hard to catch horses.
Hmm.
You put a sick child in the room with a healthy child, you end up with 2 sick children. And it's the same with who we're associating with. Who are you following on Instagram? You know, what news channel are you watching every night that talks about the world and the mess that we're in, right? That will affect you. That will affect you emotionally, mentally, physically. What do you got to stop listening to? I love this story. The little frog, all these little frogs, they started this little race, this little marathon, and they had to get across the river. And it was this crazy fast river, and they all started and they had this bet that whoever won would get a million flies. I don't know. And they kick off and they start going. They're swimming across this river, and then all of a sudden, like the seagull flies over and he's like, "You guys are all screwed. You're gonna die." And then like the little badger on the side's like, "Oh, watch out for the tide. It's gonna rip you down. You're never gonna see your family again." And then like there's a fish that's like, "Oh my gosh, watch out. You're gonna hit the rocks." And all these frogs like start piecing out. They just start falling out of the race. There's one little dude, one little frog, and he's just swimming, just killing it. And he eventually gets over to the side of the river and he wins the race. And everybody comes up and they're all cheering and they're all so excited. They're, "Oh my gosh, you did it! How'd you do it?" And he goes, "I can't hear you. He says, I'm deaf. He says, I can't hear. I can't hear." Kind of a weird story, but dude, the principle is like he shut it out, right? He couldn't
Uh-huh.
hear. He couldn't hear the negativity. He couldn't hear all of the problems. All that little frog saw, all that dude saw was opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
He saw opportunity. He saw good. He saw possibilities. And I think we need to take an inventory of who we're listening to. And if it is not helping you, if it is not adding positivity, now I'm not saying be in the clouds. No, don't pay attention to the facts. We need to know about what's going on in the world. But also, nobody wants to follow a pessimist.
Mm-hmm.
So surround yourself with optimistic people that see opportunity, not just the problems.
Well, I totally agree. And like the world is such a vast and complex thing. And you can see any situation in so many different angles and still be right. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like the fact about optimistic and pessimistic viewpoints. It's not that one is correct objectively.
Yes.
Um, what's more interesting is that it's usually whatever you believe becomes the objective truth. So it's like,
Mhm.
and it's not just like a rah motivational, like if you believe you can achieve. I mean, it's literal. Like there's so much stimulus out there. And in order to understand the world, you need to break it down through a lens that makes sense. And so you have to create a paradigm, which is like, well, I believe, for example, that people are good. That's a simple paradigm. And you could very well say the opposite and you'd be completely right.
Mhm, mhm.
But if you believe the paradigm that people are good, you give people second chances, you forgive people, you associate with people, you socialize at all. Because if I don't believe people are good, I'm not even going to go out and make friends, right? Because if I believe they're bad,
Yeah.
and whatever that paradigm is that you choose or inherit as a belief becomes true literally in your life. I mean, it's not just like I tell myself in the morning I'm super buff and then I just become buff. But if I do tell myself I have the ability to improve, that's something I believe about the world,
Yes.
then I start to take the actions
Mhm.
and then I do improve. I think the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy is one of the most powerful things.
Yeah.
And so like you talk about who you hang out with, if you're asking yourself, okay, well that's easy enough to say, like if I just believe something, then my world will become that way, but I don't actually believe it. I
Yeah.
don't actually believe I can write a book.
Yeah.
Well, hang out with people that do it.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad, when I was a kid, and I wrestled all through high school, and he would take us to watch Kel Sanderson every night up in Heber City at Wasatch High School. They literally like breed wrestlers up there. And it was Friday night, man. And as a high school kid, Friday nights that matters. Like that's Friday night. And I was like, "Dad, it's date night. It's going. I want to hang out with my friends." And every night, my dad was my wrestling coach, and he was state champion, great wrestler. And every night he would take us every Friday. And I said, "Dad, dude, I don't want to go." And he looked at me and he said, "Do you want to be a great wrestler?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, of course. Yes, I do." And he said, "Then you've got to hang out by the mat. If you want to be a great wrestler, you've got to hang out by the mat." And it's true, right? Like if you want to be a great basketball player, then you got to hang out by the hoop. You want to get good at speaking? Hang out where the speakers hang out. If you want to get good at podcasting, what are the associations, the clubs, the Instagram groups, the Facebook groups where those people hang out? Do
Hmm.
whatever it takes to associate with extraordinary people living the life you want to live.
I love that. I heard a quote the other day that was, show me your bad writing. And I loved it. He was saying, you're a writer. Well, show me your bad writing. You're a podcaster. Show me your bad podcasts. You're a speaker. Have you ever done an event when no one showed up? Well, then you're probably not a speaker. If you, everyone who's done anything significant also made crap.
Yeah, totally.
If you don't have the crap to prove it, then I'm guessing that you probably don't have the success to prove it either.
Yeah, and that's just part of it. That's part of the journey. That's growing and molding, and that's I look back on it, and like that's the fun part too. Even the hardest times, like I remember, dude, when I first met you. I was speaking at Lehigh High School, dude, in the gym. Like that keynote versus how my keynotes are today. Whoa, so different, so different. But but that was part of my story. That was a cool moment for us. That was fun. I still remember that moment. I still remember the picture, dude. I remember you were on like my first promo video, Reed. My first promo video in speaking. And that promo video versus what my promo videos are now, it's totally different. But that is still a part of my story. And it's still still a beautiful part of my story. It's not perfect, but it is part of the story.
What a weird turn of events, huh? Like, yeah, 2012. So that's almost 10 years ago. Who would have thought we'd be right here?
I know, dude. Look at us on this award-winning, amazing podcast, shooting the bull about COVID and life and how to design ET, man. It's crazy.
That's crazy, man. I guess we'll have to do another 10-year reunion. And
Let's make it 5. But yeah, sure, we can do 10.
2026, we'll do another podcast, and then at that point you'll have blown up and I'll have blown up. Well, you've already blown up. I will be on the blow up, and and we'll look back and be like, yeah, man, it's just because two people fell in love, and look at
That's
us
right,
now.
dude. Because 2 people decided to speak in a gym together. It's
That
awesome.
is awesome, man. That is super awesome. I know you got a lot of podcasts to do. I could talk all day. I wanna make sure that we're supporting you. So anyone listening to this, you got your book coming out. Let me say I've followed you on Instagram. I have seen your keynote, and that was back in the day. That one sucked. It's way better now. So anyone anyone listening to it, no, I'm kidding. No, it was awesome. And in the intro to this video, I'll explain what that story was, how we met. But you're killing it with keynotes now, traveling the world. You've got a book. How can we support you? Anyone listening to this, what can we do to support you?
I appreciate that, Reed. So the first thing is the best thing that's always helpful is to pre-order the book right now. It's on Amazon, so just type in "I love it" here and grab a copy. If you're a husband, a wife, a partner, a friend, anybody that deals with relationships, you don't have to just be a manager. This book is for you if you want to strengthen those relationships and be the type of person where people go, I like myself best because I'm with you. Grab this book. It will help you to do that better. So that would mean a lot.
Definitely. And I'll get the link from you. I'll put it in the description. What about keynote? Companies, groups, what type of people do you keynote to?
Yeah, almost anybody, man. So I still speak to kids. I love speaking to the kids. I love teaching educators. We do a lot of professional development training. And then I'm doing a ton of corporate stuff. So speaking to sales teams, leadership teams, management teams, corporations on helping them to build organizations that people never want to leave. So it's kind of across the gamut, man. I love to still to the kids. I'm not quite Uncle Tom, I'm still somewhat young, so there's still a little bit of relatability there. And the teachers, I tell a story about a teacher that changed my life with a pair of drumsticks. And in the corporate world, all of our undercover research works. So, yeah, all the above, man.
You're at that prime age, because the kids still think you're hip. If you turn the hat the other direction, the adults, they take you seriously.
Right? Yeah, it's all about the hat, dude. People are like, why do you wear a hat? And it's like, it's for my speaking career. That's why. Depends on my audience. If it's kids, we go back. If it's forward, then I'm speaking to anybody above 30.
I love that, man. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. And I'll put all that in there, and people can reach out probably just via Instagram. I think it's clintpulver.com. They
Yeah,
can,
clintpulver.com is the website. Yeah.
and I know it's kind of a tough question. I feel like asking it, but if you had to reduce and simplify your main message to an idea, what do you think is the idea that you like to give out to the world?
Yeah, it would be it's not about being the best in the world. It's about being the best for the world. That would be the message. It's not about being successful. It's not about fame, popularity, profit. All that stuff can be great. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but significance is where it's at. It's about being the best for other people, being the best for your employees, being the best for your family. That's where you live a life that's worth living. That would be it.
It's a heavy word, significance.
Yeah, dude. It matters. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Um, good luck with the baby.
Thanks, dude.
Good
Keep us
luck
in
with
prayer.
no, for sure. We just had a base. I'm with it. I know it can be crazy.
We got two of them. It's
Two-
busy right now. Yeah.
that's one per parent. Don't have another one, because then who's gonna hold them?
I know we're outnumbered, man. It's not a good situation.
Yeah, good luck with the virtual, with all the virtual events. I know it's kind of crazy time. Good luck with the live events, with the baby, with everything, with the book. And reach out. I'd love to, if I could help in any way, and I mean that. I don't just say that as like a closing. I don't just say like Saranara. I also say I'll help. I'm serious. Reach out if you
Yeah,
need
dude.
something.
Fuck, dude.
I have no assets and no expertise. So
You're a good homie, dude. You're a good homie, man. We have deep history, man. We really do. So no, I appreciate that, Reed, a lot.
yeah, for sure. And I'll let you know how things go, and good luck with the book. Don't be a stranger.
Deal. Let me know when this drops too, so that I can spread the word, man. More
For
people need
sure.
to hear from Reed.
Will do, man. Thanks for jumping on.
All right, dude. Appreciate you, Reed. Later.